Rocket Sports Studios and another edition of the Weekly Video Recap. The March 31st show kicked off with another And that's my cue to start the show. Welcome to another edition of the Hard Rocket Sports Show, live from high atop Hard Rocket Sports Studios in beautiful St. Monroe, New Jersey. We are your 2 hour weekly get-together where we bring you all the biggest news from around the worlds of hard rock, heavy metal, of course, the wide world of sports. Guys, welcome to January the 2nd in the year of our good Lord, 2025. And happy New Year's to everybody. Thank you for tuning in and welcome back to another first show of the year, the new year. And I hope you guys had a safe and happy New Year's Eve and day. And I hope everybody gets to have a great year this year. I do want to start off with my condolences from the show to all the people in New Orleans who have either lost their lives or have family who has or friends, and to those who are recovering from the injuries from the terrorist attack. So thank you all. Please send Happy New Year's, my man, Mr. Guwani. So our condolences and our best wishes to those who are caught up in this attack in New Orleans on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. It's disgusting, and it's part of what happens around here, I guess, in this country. Hopefully, when the new sheriff takes office, we'll eliminate a lot of these problems around the world and hopefully at home too. But in the meantime, I hope you guys had a great New Year's. I had a good one. I've been off of work for 2 weeks, and it's coming to an end, unfortunately. But all great things must come to an end, and I'll be getting back to work next week. But in the meantime, we got a show to do tonight. We got some stuff to talk about. We'll talk a little NFL. We'll get to the playoff picture. I want to talk about, what everybody did on New Year's. I want to talk about what Jeff and you guys all think about the Giants beating the Colts. A lot of people are disappointed and they're angry. The Giants should have lost and tanked the game and number one pick. Folks, go back and look. I ain't going to do it again. We've talked about this 100 times. How many number one picks actually work out? How many number one picks out of quarterbacks actually work out? Is there anybody out there as a number one pick for a quarterback that you actually wanted to draft? To me, it's irrelevant. Take the best player available. Go get a free agent quarterback. But we'll talk about that during the show. We'll talk about, should the Eagles have played Saquon to get the record? What's everybody's thoughts on, playing through the finish? There's different scenarios. Teams have been great during the regular season. Take the last week off and they shit the bed because you get a couple weeks off in the playoffs and you lose that momentum. Do you play guys and you hope you don't get injuries? There's to me, there's no right way or wrong way to do it. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll talk about the passing of Jimmy Carter. I have to kind of mention that. Let's see what else I got on here. We'll talk about the Jets. We'll talk a little Mets. What is the perfect album? If you guys have an album that you say is perfect, you put it on start to finish. There's no bad ones. We'll talk about that. Lions and Vikings I think is going to be the the biggest game of the season. I believe that's this. I don't know if it's Sunday night or Monday night's game, but that should be a great game. We'll talk a bit about the Lions and what I think they're going to be up to. That's it. We got Bruce Dickinson's got some stuff on the new Iron Maiden. We're just going to have a general conversation to see what happens tonight. And listen, you guys got something you want to talk about? Now's the time to talk about it. But in the meantime, it's time to get the show on the road, and that's the only one way to do that is by bringing on. I don't know I don't know what this is all about, folks. He's got the hat on backwards, the sunglasses on. I have no idea what the fuck I have no idea. Honestly, I shake my head sometimes, but let's bring on my partner in crime, the man I've known for over 40 years and one of my best buds, Mr. Jeff, the Blackest Sabbath Talwinski. All right. So you want to tell us why you're auditioning for a Compton gang member?
Two things.
You're wearing a Jets hat, so it can't be good.
Doesn't matter. It's what I represent. Okay.
All right.
It's a team that I used in Madden to destroy somebody else. Okay. When I dominated them.
That's what you got.
Football, as much as they say they do, they were dominated from the start. What a shame. What a shame that they try to represent a certain thing about themselves. They can't touch me. Second, I won $200.
You did?
$50 investment got me back $150. You can't even do that on FanDuel. That's one thing. Second of all, I dominated the league.
You dominated the league. Is that what you just said? You dominated the league?
I'm telling you, I dominated the league.
Okay.
Here I am. I've made it all the way. First year expansion team, made it to the championship. I lost by several points. Yeah, there's no denying that. But even the commodore of that team, John Marheca, he was a little worried about the aggressiveness of my team, my squad. I made an offer to you earlier in the year, and that offer still stands, man. To be here, to sit at my right hand, to be my jester, my court jester.
As flattering as it sounds, I'll at this point I will tell you that I will pass on that luxurious spot.
I have
sit next to you on the throne. But thank you.
That offer up until the day of the draft.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
On table. Matter of fact, thanks to you,
you
were one of the teams that helped propel me into the championship round.
Okay, well, are you counting on the fact that I whipped your ass in the last game of the season? Is that what you're referring to?
One game. The other game that we played, I dominated you once again.
Just for the record, I went on, I think, a 7 or 8 game winning streak to end the season. If I had not started the season out at 0-4, there's a pretty good chance that I would be hoisting the trophy. But listen, didn't win.
Everything that you're saying now is like telling everybody that's watching that if I never lost a game, I would have went undefeated.
That's right.
Everything that you're saying is just totally irrelevant.
All right. Well, it's very, very, very possible that it is irrelevant. But I congratulate you and John Marhefka, Red Zone Invasion, and Tony Jordan for the top 3. And congratulations to all the teams in our league for competing. And again, I said it last week. I'll say it again this week. I thank everybody for staying in it right to the end and making sure that they filled out their lineups and made sure that nobody got an easy victory. So it was a lot of fun. I'd like to see a little more trash talk, but whatever. It's we'll see what happens in next year when we do this all over again. But in the meantime, Jeff, let's get the show started off properly. Unlike we just had to listen to that buffoonery. Jeff, how was your week?
Well, Tom, my week started off great. You know why?
Why?
Because I played somebody in Madden 25.
That's true. I did come over your house and we did play a very spirited game of Madden 25. It was my first time playing it, and I've bought Madden for my own self, so I will be practicing, and I will be signing up for the online portion this evening, so that way at some point we will be able to play head-to-head frequently. Well,
I already won that contest.
You did.
I don't need to prove myself anymore.
You're retiring with
because that was also my first game against a real person, regardless of the Madden.
Gotcha. Well, it was a fun time getting to hang out with you, and then getting to go out to dinner with Father Bob Pecoraro. It was very nice to hang out with Father Bob. Unfortunately, we did not get to have our jam this year. Guys couldn't make it. We were drummerless.
Yeah, that's all right. You know why?
Why is that all right?
We didn't want them anyway. We didn't need them. You don't want to come? Don't come.
Well,
we'll get somebody else next time.
It is what it is. So we'll shoot it again. Maybe we'll try for in a couple months and see if we can get it together. If not, there's always next December. In the meantime, I did get to hang out with you and Bob. It was nice to get together. And how was your New Year's Eve, New Year's Day? You worked New Year's Day?
Yeah, I had to work. I worked.
Okay. I went into work for a couple hours this morning myself, just to kind of get my feet wet and kind of turned the hat back on to my project management / general super duties. So I'm getting ready to get back to work on Monday. Tomorrow I have some last minute errands and some run around and go a little visiting to my parents, and then settling on the weekend. It's supposed to be some bad weather this weekend, I think. People keep saying snow and cold weather. I didn't see it myself yet. So
yeah, that's what I hear.
I was down this morning. I went to work and then I stopped on the island, and a couple of buddies of mine are working crossway from the old Cromwell Center on Hannah Street, where they are in the middle of building a new Parks Department building over there, building a new, I guess, rec center.
Yeah.
So I was on some Parks Department land for a few minutes this morning. I was thinking about you.
Sorry to hear that.
Well, I didn't step foot on it, and it wasn't working, so it was all right with me. But in the meanwhile, I had a very nice New Year's Eve. Went to dinner with the parents. What everybody else out there do. I hope you guys had a good time. But I went to dinner with my parents and then home for the night, and didn't do much yesterday. Watched a little bit of football, a little bit of Odd couple shows, and then that was my my night. That was it. I guess I so look forward to not going out on New Year's Eve. I don't know why, but I so look forward to not going out.
Unless you're at a big gathering or party, what's the point?
Well, let me ask you this question. So, a buddy of mine, I was talking to today. He was telling me about his night out, and I said, I was thinking about it afterwards, and I was trying to think what's an acceptable cost for a night out with, say, another couple or two. So if you went out, Jeff, with you and your lovely wife, and you were going out to dinner with, say, two other couples to dinner, and the bill came, what is the acceptable? Not now. You're far from a cheap guy, and whatever the bill came to, I would show you'd pony up your portion of it. But when you went home, what would you say for a night out? Let's say half hour of drinking before, and then a nice long dinner with some drinks and everything involved. What would you say would be an acceptable amount per couple that you would say, it was a nice night out, spent a little bit of money, but it was worth it?
I don't know, man. You know why? Because one, if I'm going to drink, I drink. I don't eat. I don't eat and drink at the same time.
Understood.
You know what I mean? So, I have to watch myself with drinking and driving because I have a CDL. So the limits are actually lower. So I can't really get pulled over for any reason.
All right, we'll say you weren't drinking. Your wife was drinking.
Oh, I'm just trying to factor all of this in. So, most time menus are limited to what the restaurant picks for you.
No limit on the menu. This place.
No
regular menu.
No,
so let's say you're going on a regular dinner. Doesn't have to be. Okay, so Louis saying $200 per couple is acceptable to him.
$200 to $250.
Okay, so you would say if you were anywhere from $150 to $250 for a couple for a nice night out with some other people, a couple of drinks, some desserts, that's comfortable.
If it wasn't New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, whatever, something like a holiday like that, I would say $150 to $200 would be fine. But because it's a holiday, I would say anywhere from $200 to $250 because it's a holiday, you get overcharged as it is. So I would say between $200 and $250 for the same thing that you could do a week later, between $150 and $200.
Yeah.
But like you said, to me, I guess it also depends on who I'm with. If I was with you and your wife and like maybe Paul and Julia or my brother and his wife, $200 to $250, I probably wouldn't bat an eye about that.
Right.
If I was with some other people that I really didn't want to be with, $50 is too much. But
my buddy was telling me that they went for $600 a couple.
Who?
They went for $600. I won't tell you who it was. It's a friend of mine. I don't know if you know him very well, but yeah, it's a friend of mine. We talked today, and they sat down, and their drinks were like $160 a couple for the first half hour. They got there at their bar. That was the bar bill, $160 a couple, and then they had a nice dinner, which was $400 a couple, I believe.
My God, that's insane.
And I was thinking to myself driving home, like, I consider myself far from cheap. Like I'm okay. We go out. The bill comes, let's pay it. Let's and I'm good with that. Never, you had this, I had that. I hate that stuff. But I said to what would be acceptable to me? And I said, to me, if I went over 300, if I went to $300, I would have to start batting an eye. Like that's a lot of money for dinner and some drinks. Like this isn't a floor show. I'm seeing a comedian. I got singers, bands.
It depends on what you got to eat too. If you get there and you get a salad that's this big.
Well, listen, let me tell you, but if you get the biggest bowl of soup, the nicest salad, and a steak, and are you still going to be okay? Basically, paying $300 for your meal. That's basically what it comes to. It's drinks.
But if I'm getting a steak, that means that there's going to be no fat left behind. I don't have to.
I understand.
To clean fat out of there.
I agree with you.
And eat it.
But now, when you start to creep it to $600 a couple, that's a lot of money.
Oh, I agree. I totally agree.
Listen, my wife have gone out. I've gone out. We've gone to some steak place in the city, and you spend $300, $325. It's like, all right, but it's a really good steak. It's a special night out. But when you start getting $600, $300 a person, I said, boy, oh boy, that is a lot of money.
But even at $300 a person, even if the steak is great, you do realize that you're getting rid of it in a few hours.
No, listen, I wouldn't do it. I'm not saying I would not.
Well, sometimes you say you wouldn't do it, but sometimes you have no choice because all of a sudden when you find yourself sitting in the restaurant and you're looking at the menu and you're like, holy shit, this is going to be a lot of money.
No, listen, I will tell you that I've become a big on where are we going, check the menu, and get an idea of what dinner is so you're kind of prepared.
What you've done is you've taken the step to the next era in life.
Yes.
Okay. The next is you'll be taking a diaper with you.
Oh, listen.
This year way when you don't get to see the menu online and you see it in person, this year way you're not staining your pants.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I'm not cheap, but for $600 a couple, I can't fathom it. It's above my pay grade to understand that kind of money. Now, again, I know people who do it. I've been to some restaurants where I looked at the bill. Luckily, I wasn't paying the bill. And you go, I went to a restaurant for a business thing pretty recently, and I had a steak sandwich and French fries. Delicious, absolutely delicious. It was $42 for the steak sandwich.
How was the sandwich?
It was delicious.
No fat, no grizzle, no nothing?
No, I would tell you that it was no fat. It was
so you ate everything they brought out. You ate everything.
Well, it was a nice size. I had half. I brought the other half home, and my wife. That said sandwich, the entire sandwich went down. Correct.
You didn't have to cut anything off of it.
Didn't have to cut a blessed thing off of it.
Then $42 to me, that's a bargain.
I don't know about $42 for a steak sandwich. Let me tell you something. If you walked into a deli and they had steak sandwich on the menu, and you said how much was it, and they said it's the best steak sandwich, it's $42. You telling me you pull $42 out of your wallet and say I'll pay for it?
No, because chances are the steak that they're using in the deli is either minute steak or fucking steak.
I'm just saying.
But if you went someplace and they were using a fucking ribeye steak or a filet mignon steak, and you paid $42 for that, I could pay that.
Yeah, it was literally the cheapest steak on. It was pretty much the cheapest thing on the menu. Like I have a thing when I go out to dinner, or I go out to thing. If I'm not paying the bill, I'm not going to order the most expensive thing on there. I'm going to look for something that's reasonably priced. If I'm paying the bill, I don't care what I spend. It's what I want to spend. But if I'm spending somebody else's, I have a hard time looking up and buying a $78 or an $85 steak that somebody else is footing the bill for.
I totally agree. We went out a couple months ago for my wife's son's engagement announcement.
Okay.
And we went out with his father and his wife, and me and my wife, and her son, Stephen, and his girlfriend, and her ex-husband and his wife brought their youngest son. He's maybe 17, 18.
Right.
So there was 7 of us. And I asked my wife beforehand, I was like, listen, what do you want to do about the bill here? I was like, before we get into place, we talked about this. And she was like, she goes, I wouldn't mind paying. So I'm like, okay, say no more. That's what you want to do. That's fine. So when the bill came, her ex-husband motioned for the bill.
Right.
So I knew as soon as he motioned for the bill that unless I did something drastic, he was going to pay the bill.
Right.
I'm not one to show off or anything of that nature.
Sure.
So they put the bill down in front of him. He looked the other way. I grabbed it and I walked up to the counter.
Good for you.
And I went to go pay the bill. And I expected but didn't expect. He came up to me. He was like, "Oh, come on, man. Let me give you half. Let me give you half." And then he's like, "I insist I pay the tip." I'm like, "That's fine." I says, "No problem." I says, it's my pleasure to pay. I don't care. And that was over 600 for the 7 of us.
Right, that's not bad. You're talking about $90 a person. That's not bad.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? That's what my wife wanted to do.
Absolutely. Same thing happened to me. My wife did the same thing. Came into the table, said we're paying the bill, and we paid it. So
we're trying to. Everybody got along. Everybody was fine.
Good.
We're trying to help her son out and everything, one way or another. So it's all going to come back around somehow, some way.
Sure.
So I don't care, and we're going to be connected now, whether you want to or not. You know the deal, how it is.
100%.
You got to show that you're all right. You know what I mean?
Listen, I'm very lucky. All the in-laws of my kids that I've met so far are wonderful people. We get along fine. We've gone to dinners together. We've spent time outside of the kids. So I'm happy that way. They're all nice people, and even if they weren't, I'm gonna make nice. But yeah, so you have to. Yeah. Again, so to me, I understand your point. Before Tommy got engaged, we all went out. We met right after all the parents met up at the restaurant. It was a bunch of us, and my wife kicked me to the table and said, "You pay the bill." I said, "Okay, I'll pay the bill." So we paid the bill. It was quite a bit of money, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's what you wish like that. Everybody pick like Danino's or something.
Oh, you hope that they're going family style and you get a couple things on the table, but unfortunately, it was lots of drinking and lots of appetizers. So
yeah, you know what, dude? It's a good thing. It gives not to say that I did it or you did it, so that people could talk about you and say, "Oh, he's a nice guy." But it's the right thing to do, man.
Absolutely, 100%, and it sets a nice thing for everybody, and everybody kind of there's no fighting, and it was nice and good for you. But like I said, my buddy went out, and when he told me the bill, I went, I'm not cheap, but $600 a couple is kind of $1,800 for a meal.
I don't know this guy. Oh, I know this guy.
I don't know if you do or you don't. I want to say you do, but you might have met him in passing. I'll tell you off the air. I don't want to say it on the air.
No, I don't blame you.
But yeah, interesting. But I was just curious. Like, I do
want to know what kind of person pays $600 a bill.
Well, I mean, at that point, he had no idea. He said, "I had no choice." He said, when the bill came, was I going to say no?" He said, "They got to pay the bill."
Oh, you do this just like this.
Yeah.
I didn't fucking know. I'll go yak this up in the bathroom and give you the food back.
But I've definitely got my wife will say, "We're going to dinner with so and so. We're going to go to this place. Open the menu. I want to see what I'm eating. I want to see what the prices are." And I'm also very, like I always tell my wife this: you get one shot. If you ask me to go out with somebody, and they pull the old, "Well, I only ordered this," that on my portion's only that. I never go out with them again. There's rules. If you go out, the bill comes whether you had 2 drinks or 1 drink.
I got to disagree with that. Now I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because let's say that you ordered a surf and turf.
Yep.
All right, and it's $100 a plate.
Yep.
And then I got a cheeseburger.
Yep.
Okay, and then you start pounding down drinks.
Yep.
And you're drinking nothing but top shelf all night.
Okay.
And I had soda or water, and now the bill comes and it's $800. It's like, why am I paying $400? I can eat the same shit for a week and not spend $400.
I agree with you. I agree to a certain extent. But for me, I will pay my share of the bill and I'll never go out with you again. Like that. So to me, I'll do it that time because that's the way it is. And I'll tell them after the next time we go out, you either tell them we're getting separate bills, which we've done with a couple of her friends. She'll go, "We'll have 2 separate bills." That way, because some of her friends don't drink. So it's like you get your own bill so you don't have to pay our bar tab. But some of them are a little on the cheap side. So
I've been with people that start drinking, like they got there first and they already started drinking. And when the bartender looks at them, he just comes over with their drinks, which means that they're already on round 2 or 3.
Yeah,
And they carry that balance over to the table.
Well, yeah,
already starting with a balance of over $100 at the table, and you didn't even get a water yet. So that's why I say sometimes, like, why do I got to pay X amount of dollars when
I agree with you, but the proper etiquette would be to pay that tab at the bar before you leave and start fresh at the table.
Yeah, you're right. But sometimes the restaurant doesn't look at it that
again.
way.
It depends on who it is. If it's somebody like you and me and we go out to dinner, I could care less what the bill is. We're splitting it, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you know what? The bill, the bill's going to be different because neither one of us are trying to fucking, be fucking shit-faced before the fucking food gets there.
That's very true. So
you might have got there first and had a beer. A beer, that's no big deal. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
But when your fucking cheeks are red and you're smiling from ear to ear, and you were there 15 minutes before me and you're on your 4th round, I got an issue with that,
I hear you guys. Happy New Year to you all. First show of the year. We got a lot of football to talk about. We got some Iron Maiden. We got a few things. We have the big list. Jeff, you have the dead list. What's up there, Mr. Finelli?
Yes. How are you, man? Yes, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. So that's 3 pages, 3 sheets, 6 sides, both sides. There's a lot of names on this list this year. Let me explain about the dead list before we even go any further. There's not very many. Happy New Year, Robert. How are you, man? There's not many big names that you'll know, but you'll pretty much know everybody that's on that list because of the things that they did, whether they were character actors or something of that nature. So you're gonna know everybody that's on the list. You're gonna know, and but you might not. When you hear the name, you may be like, "Oh, who the fuck is that?" But I can tell you that if I knew them, you definitely know them.
Okay. Again, Joe Cloak, I agree with you. You pay the bar bill before you sit down. But we will get to the dead list in a few minutes. I want to talk about
back up a second. Joe Cloak shouldn't be out there drinking anyway.
Well, I've seen Joe Cloak drink in the past. I don't know if he's still imbibes the way he did as a child, as a younger man, but
that's my question. Do you really want to be responsible for being out with somebody like Joe Cloak and then have to deal with that aftermath?
I would be honored to out with Joe Cloak anytime. Joe Cloak is a fine, upstanding human being. That's all I can tell you. That's all I'll say for the record. Joe and I have spent a few afternoons in a few bars together back in the day. So we'll leave it there with those comments.
Was that the Blue Oyster?
No, not the Blue Oyster. We used to play football for this bar that was on Highland and Sand Lane.
The Mine Shaft.
Well, it might have been. So there was a girl bartender. So there was a beer refrigerator right near the edge of the bar. So we would get her attention at the other end of the beer, and all of a sudden, beers would be passed out. So you'd be talking to her and asking her a question like, "What do you make with that drink?" And all of a sudden, you look up, and guys like Joe would be sitting there opening the refrigerator and passing out free beers. It was $20 would last you for like 2 days if you sat in the bar. $20, Club Grasmere. That's correct, Joe. Club Grasmere, Highland Boulevard. But anyway, I digress for sure. But I do want to bring up a little bit of football right away, and then we'll do the dead list for all you who don't know what the dead list is. Every year, Jeff does this homework, and he comes up with a list of the celebrities and famous people who have passed away in that year. So we go through the list. We'll talk about some of the names. Last year, we got kind of burnt because we did it a couple days before the end of the year, and a couple people snuck in, unfortunately for them.
Yeah, we had to use, unfortunately for them, or this is a big thing, this list.
Yes.
And a lot of people want to get on it. They just don't know why they want to get on it. And,
we're hoping to avoid the list ourselves for a few years. So.
Oh, yeah. I'm about 40.
Yeah,
nice.
So hopefully but we'll get to the list in a couple of minutes. I just want to talk a little football. And Jeff, there was so the NFL playoffs are 2 weeks away. Well, this weekend we have a final week of NFL games. A couple of games matter, a lot of them don't. One of the games that doesn't matter is the Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles this Sunday in Philadelphia. So the Giants are playing basically for positioning. The Eagles are locked in at the 2 seed. and we'll get to the number 1 seed. And it's funny, the number 1 seed is going to be decided by one game. The loser of that game winds up 5. The winner winds up in number 1. So we'll talk about that one. It's interesting,
sick, right?
Yeah. So, but we'll it's because the other division winners go first. But anyway, so the Eagles have decided to sit Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. Now, Barkley's going for the NFL rushing record, or could have been, needed 100 and something yards to break the 40-year-old Eric Dickerson record. So let me ask you, this goes back to the conversation. We've had this in the past, but going into the playoffs, you're a team, you're playing well. The Eagles have been on a good run for a while now. Do you think it's wise to sit your starters? Because I believe they're going to get a bye in the first round as the number 2 seed. So now you're talking about giving guys almost 3 weeks off. Are you inclined to give the play guys in the game that's meaningless? Now, if a guy's healthy or injured, it's 2 different things. But let's consider everybody healthy. Would you be playing everybody in this game at least for a half or 3/4, and then obviously you get the bye week and then you get the playoffs, or would you give this chance to give 2 weeks of rest to these guys and let them sit and be ready for the start of the playoffs? How would you handle it?
If Barkley was within 50 yards of the record, I'd have him play. Okay. Hurts. If you're not getting anything, you're not going to move up in seeding. Give these guys a chance. More so Barkley than Hurts.
Well, Hurts got a concussion, so I would not play him.
Okay, so he can't play.
Correct.
I wouldn't play him either. Barkley gets hurt sometimes. He has a spotty record at best. I mean, this year he's been all right, no problems, no issues.
Nope.
But like I said, if he was within 50 yards of the record, I let him play so he gets the record. If he's about 100 and change away from the record, I wouldn't let him play. And I would tell him, I'm like, listen, go chasing a Super Bowl is more important than a record. You could have had this record and been on the Giants.
Yeah. Well,
okay. You have a chance now to go for a Super Bowl. If you stayed on the Giants, would you have had a chance to go for a Super Bowl this year? I don't think so. So we're going to pack you in for the year, and that's that. Go watch the game in the locker room, up in the press box, wherever you like, but you're not going on the field. That's
I would agree. If you're now as a fan or of football, do you want your star player saying, screw you, I want to play? I mean, is it selfish for the guy to play, basically, to break a record? Is it, do you give him props to say, hey, the guy wants to be out there and play football every week? Where do you stand on a guy like Barkley playing or not playing?
Honestly, I would like to see him get a chance to break the record, honestly.
Okay.
But I'm going to be realistic, okay, and say that it's more important for him to be playoff ready. And he's a running back. He's not a quarterback.
Yeah.
He takes the ball, he runs through the hole in the line, and that's that. I think that it's better for him to be prepared for the bigger picture, which is the Super Bowl and the playoff run. As a fan, I would love nothing more than to see the guy on my team hold the record, especially since the record we're talking about now is over 40 years old.
Yep.
So he may hold it for the rest of my lifetime. And God knows how much longer than that. But, I mean, realistically, Saquon Barkley has been bitten by the injury bug several times throughout his career. You're definitely going to go into the playoffs and be a Super Bowl contender. I got to say that I would not have him playing. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, again, I'm against the records. The records are meaningless. You want to win the Super Bowl. So if Barkley was on my team and if this was up to, I'd say sit his ass on the bench. Again, I think you're right to a certain extent. If you're within a few yards of manageable first half, you get him some time. I'd be more concerned that I kind of like what the Giants did in 2007. They were making the playoffs. It was a meaningless game against the Patriots. They went out there. They lost the game 38-35. It was a great football game. But to me, that propelled the Giants into the playoffs and gave them a great momentum. And it gave them a chance to say, hey, we could beat this team in the Super Bowl, which they did. So I'm a bigger fan of playing the game. To me, you play the game. You want to play 3/4. I say get you guys out there and you play football. I don't like sitting. I think sitting breeds rust, complacency. I'm more. Forget about the record. I just want my guys to play football every week. Now, if you get a ton of injuries, I understand it, but I don't like the idea of sitting guys. Like Mahomes is not playing this week because he's got a high ankle sprain. So,
well, I mean, there's nothing more for him to gain.
Correct.
Wouldn't play
Correct.
either.
No, but if he was healthy, I would say pay your team out there for a half or three quarters, and then you could sit them. But to me, I don't like the idea of sitting my team 2 games essentially, or 2 weeks, and having them not play.
Say a guy like, well, I could see. I have no problem sitting a running back over a quarterback. That's one thing. I think a quarterback is a little bit different, but like I said, without anything to gain, I just couldn't see the point of having him get injured. I understand that he could come back. Look at Aaron Rodgers, 4th play into the season.
Exactly.
Injuries happen. They could happen at any given time. But like in Barkley's situation, like I said, he's been injured in the past and missed chunks of time.
Yeah.
There is no missing chunks of time at this time of year. You're either playing or you're not. But I mean, like I said, maybe he's less than 50 or less yards away. You let him go after the record and you say, I give you the half. But if you bust a run for 55 yards on your first carry, you're out. You're not into the record. That's it.
Yeah, you're out. I get it, and the record's important. I think it's more about playing the game and being at your top as a team. If your quarterback's not playing and you're missing your right guard and your left tackle and one wide receiver's down, to me it's not worth it. Sit everybody down and play your backups. But to me, I like going into the playoffs. I like my team to go into the playoffs. Playing as a team and playing well. And I think, sometimes a week is okay to take off. When you start getting into 2 weeks, that's a lot of time to sit around and not play football and then come back against a team that's been playing and maybe starting to get a little momentum. That's a tough one for me. So we'll see if it works out. Either way, the Giants play this weekend. It's not, it's all about seeding. What did you think? So the Giants go out there and they finally play their best game of the football season against a Colt team that was trying, at least I think they were trying, to get into the playoffs, and they were eliminated by the game. And the Giants go out there and score, 40 points and kick the crap out of them, essentially play their best game. But they now go from the number 1 pick in the draft to the number 5 pick in the draft, and they could fall even down to number 9 with another win this weekend over the backups. To me, as a Giant fan, I don't care. I don't care about draft picks. We've seen too many of them come on board. Number 1 pick of the draft, 2nd overall pick, 5th pick, and they be busts anyway. So to me, I want to win football games. I want my team and my fan base to experience winning. So I didn't care. You, as an outsider, not a Giant fan, but a football fan, would you say that was a dumb move to win the game? Do you say, hey, you got to go out there and play the football game and whatever happens?
Because I could give you a perfect example of somebody that's fucked for losing, and that would be Jeff Ulbrich from the Jets. Even if he has a chance to be a coach in this league next year, he might have ruined himself and his stock and may never, ever be able to be a coach in the NFL again. Same as being a player. If you're on the New York Giants or any other team that's has a very lowly record, and you're purposely losing the game, you're tanking to get the best player possible, however you want to put it. You might not be on that team next year, so maybe you're not even going to get the chance to play with the number 1 pick next year. That's one thing. Second, I don't want to see people that are just going to roll over and die. Third, I disagree with some of the stuff that you're saying.
Why?
Which is, listen, draft picks, everybody knows it's hit or miss. You never know what you're going to get in the draft. But chances are you're going to get a better player at 1, 2, or 3 than you're going to get at 7, 8, 9. So that being said, I would personally, I'm not saying you got to go quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I would rather get more players to choose from and have my problem be there's 3 guys that I really like, 2 that I think are really going to help me immediately, and I have 1 pick. Who am I going to take? That's how I would like to look at it.
Right.
Everybody has their preference.
Sure.
The more people that pick in front of you, if there is a cornerback that you want, and you're like, we need this guy. He's a shutdown corner. We need him. Okay. Every time that somebody gets up on the board to pick, there's a chance that your guy is gone. Yeah. Especially if he's, the number one cornerback for the draft, or he's the best player available in the draft. Now you're picking 7th. Now what happens? Some people panic because, when they do the projection, it'll be like 6 teams are going after a running back, quarterback, and 1 team is going after a running back. Nobody wants a cornerback until number 8, where you're sitting. Yeah. But yet you get nervous. You get antsy. You'll be like, oh, fuck it. I'm just going to trade the next 2 number 1s. This number 1 and next year's number 1, so I can move up 3 spots and take this guy. Meanwhile, you find out afterwards, like, this guy wasn't even on our boards. But fuck it. I took it. I'll take that deal.
Yeah.
I still got the guy I wanted. Plus, I got 2 draft picks. So you got to be careful too.
No, I agree. I just say I don't want my team to put out a bad product ever. And it's, as a fan, I want to win games. I don't care when they are. I just want to win football games. It was so nice to get up Monday morning after the Giants won and won convincingly and looked like a football team than it was every other week for the last 9 or 10 weeks when they lost. To me, at the end of the day, there's no guarantee of the draft pick. Joe Cloak, to your point, it's a great one. It's nice to have the number 1 overall pick and trade down, get some more compensatory picks. Maybe get an extra 2nd-round pick or a couple 3rd-round picks.
Well, listen, number 1 pick. I understand what you're saying and what you're getting at and what Joe says. Okay, But please remember one thing: if there ain't nobody in the draft, that pick is worth nothing.
Correct.
Okay, so you could hope and pray that you get the number 1 pick in the draft, but there is no guaranteed quarterback. There is no guaranteed wide receiver. The strongest part of this class is middle linebacker. And you'll be like, oh, nobody's going to fucking trade up for that.
Right.
The next best position is guard. There's definitely nobody that's trading up for that. So if you got a strong quarterback class or a strong end class, edge rusher class or something like that, you may get people left tackle class. You'll get people that'll work with you. But if it ain't that, they're not going to go out of their way, because why are they going to give up extra draft capital when the people that they want will probably be there anyway?
Very true. And again, it's all part of it. So to me, though, you show up on Sunday and you play your best game and you win football, and you it's about breeding a culture. The best teams in this league have a culture. Guys like the Patriots and the Chiefs, they have a culture of the way they do things, and you go out and you win football games. Patrick Mahomes is one of the better quarterbacks in the league, and the guy guaranteed playoff spot. He's still out there running around playing football because that's what you're doing. To me, I had no problem with the Giants winning again. I saw people, they should have lost. What do you want them to do? Go out there and and tank and lose? I think that's disgusting. Plus, you got to remember, guys, these players, whether they're on the Giants next year or someplace else, all of it's on tape. So somebody who comes in to coach this team next year, whether it's Dable or whatever or whoever, or if they're free agents or they get cut and they want to go play somewhere else, somebody's going to look at the tape and say, wow, look at the way that guy played. Boy, oh boy, I don't want him on my team. So, these guys have to put the best product on film every week. And like I said, for me as a football fan, I don't want my team to lose. I hope they go out and kill the Eagles this weekend and we wind up with the number 9 pick. That's fine. If that's where we wind up, because we drafted number 2 Barkley, it did no good for us. I love the guy. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong. It didn't help the Giants get any better than where they are. They drafted Evan Neal at number 7. It's done nothing for us, and he turned out to be a bust. Baker Mayfield took 6 or 7 years to get to the point where he is now. Sam Darnold's taken 5 years to get to the point.
Wait a minute now. Everybody calm down a little bit there. Baker Mayfield happens to be one of the better quarterbacks in the league, because there's really not that many great quarterbacps.
No, but he's at least playing well. I'm not saying
he does play well. And Sam Darnold is an aberration.
I don't know about that.
It might be.
It might be the system he's playing in. It might be the team he's playing on. He may go to a different team next year.
How is it that Sam Darnold went from the Jets to I know he went to Carolina, and then he was 3rd string down in San Francisco. Now all of a sudden he goes to Minnesota, and he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
Jeff, look at Jared Goff. Jared Goff was a disaster.
When?
And Jared Goff, when he came into the league.
Who said Jared Goff was a disaster?
Me.
You were wrong.
Absolutely not wrong.
You were wrong. Yes, you are.
No, he's now turned into a really good quarterback.
Jared Goff,
yeah,
whether you like it or not, went and took a team to the Super Bowl and lost the Super Bowl by a few points. This isn't somebody that sucked and had a sub 500 record. Then he went to Detroit.
Yep.
Okay, but he played in a Super Bowl.
I got you. Doesn't mean he was a good quarterback. He was an average quarterback.
He played in the Super Bowl. He was on a good team.
I got you.
Two bad years, and they gave up on him.
But I'm saying is he was trending down to the point where his
whole team trended down. They still trended down.
I'm disagreeing, but I'm saying he didn't play worth the crap, and he wound up on a team now that was up and coming, and he's turned into a really good quarterback, one of the better quarterbacks in the league. It's happened to Geno Smith. It's happened to Baker. Now it's Sam Darnold. We'll see. And yes, Joe Cloak, I think it's a system. Sam Darnold, the 1 year he got to spend in San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan, and now with the guy up in O'Connell up in Minnesota, I think he's done wonders for his career. Now, do I trust the fact that I want Sam Darnold to be the quarterback of the New York Giants? No, but if you're Minnesota, you have a very interesting offseason. I mean, are you going to sign Darnold to a 3-4 year deal? Are you going to let him go and you're going to play McCarthy? Are you going to try to get Sam Darnold on a 1 or 2 year deal, which he's never going to go for? He's going to take advantage of this. So there's a lot of interesting things. But so to me, let's go back to the original conversation. Go win football games, and you deal with the draft when you get there. And to me, the more you lose, the worse it gets. And I'm not about tanking. So the Giants winning last weekend, I am fine, and I hope they go out this week and kick the crap out of the Eagles. That's what I say. But yes, Joe, it is definitely a big place. Where you wind up and who your coach is and your position definitely matters. So we'll see. But yeah, Jeff, I think it's interesting. This whole Sam Darnold, what's going to happen here is going to be interesting.
Real quick, I had to look it up.
Good.
Right. I'm going to go by completion percentage. Okay. And he started his career in 2016. He went 54.6, 62.1. 64.9, 62.9, 67 in his last year in LA. Okay. Touchdowns. He went from 5 because the first year he only played 7 games. 28, 32, 22, 20, 19. Now he's with the Lions. 19, 29, 30, 36. So yeah, he is trending upwards, but even yards. His second year, 3,800, 4,700, 4,600, 3,900. 3,200, 4,400, 4,500. He's not done with the season yet. 4,300. I don't see where I lost you here. Hold on. I'm trying to get back to you. I don't see that. I wouldn't say that he's a bad quarterback, man. He was on a team that was heading downhill that couldn't make its mind up. Aaron Donald didn't know if he was going to stay or go.
I'm just saying is nobody considered him a top 10 quarterback at that point. Regardless,
and I don't know if he is still a top 10 quarterback.
No, he's definitely at this point. Yeah, I would tell you that. Yes, I think it's the system he plays in. He's got two great backs, two or three really good receivers. That's a good team. There's no doubt about it. But Jared Goff played now.
Good team when he played with LA for a couple of years.
But I would tell you that. But again, nobody ever considered him to be a top 10 quarterback. Now, I would tell you he's in top 5. I would tell you if you're going to give me 5 guys, he's going to be in that category. He's had enough good years now and has done enough good things that I would put him in that category. Now, again, could he have been a top 5 back 10 years ago when you had the Manning brothers and Peyton and Drew Brees and Roethlisberger? I don't know. That's an interesting conversation. But right now, based on the league, yeah, he's easily a top 5 quarterback. To me, there's no doubt. They're winning 14 games this year.
All right, so now you're telling me that he's a top 5 quarterback. Are the top 5 quarterbacks of today as good as the top 5 quarterbacks if you went Brady, Peyton?
That's my point. I don't know. I don't know the answer.
No, they're not.
Again,
maybe Mahomes is the best out of the bunch.
Well, Mahomes,
Josh
Allen, those 2 guys are definitely in that category. You'd put those 2 guys with that other group, sure.
Definitely. But I don't think you could come up with a solid top 5.
No, I would tell you that I would say that Goff would be in the conversation, but he probably wouldn't crack the top 6 in that thing. And if I put Mahomes and Allen in there, that's a conversation that's good to have. But yeah, those would be right now the only 3 I could think of that I would put in that category of they could have played 20 years ago in that with those guys. But it's interesting. Sam Darnold right now has put himself in a position where, his 1-year deal, he can write his own check. He's going to get a 4-year deal, probably big money guaranteed, and he's going to have his pick on where he wants to play. I mean, just based on where it is.
I think he's going to have to show another year.
I don't think so. Somebody will give him that money. Now, maybe the Vikings don't. It's possible. But you think about it. Let's say the Vikings go out and win this week, and they win the NFC North. Okay, they'll be 14-2 or 15-2. I got to look at the records. Are you going to turn this team over, to a rookie who didn't even play this year, wasn't even on the bench because he got hurt, and let Donald walk away? To me, if he fits your system, he played that well, they're going to find a way to keep him, I would think.
All right, Sean, let me ask you something. You're the Vikings, okay?
Yep.
And you're saying all of this right now.
Yep.
Okay. So there's a few other teams in the league that are going to need quarterbacks without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Just give me a number. That's all I'm asking for. What would you pay Donald a year right now?
What would I pay him?
I'm going to tell you, 3-year deal. You're going to offer him a 3-year deal.
Go ahead.
Okay. How much you going a year?
Well, I think if the franchise number for a quarterback this offseason is $42 million. If you franchise your quarterback, he's making $42 million. So I would think you're going to be in that area. So I would say if you're thinking 3-year deal, I'd say you're looking at 3 years, 120 plus, and probably 80 million of it guaranteed.
Okay, so that's what you're saying you would give him.
I would say at this point, that's what you'd probably have to give him. As a Giant fan, I wouldn't bring him back to New York. If I was starting a team, if I'm the Miami Dolphins or something like that.
I'm putting you in the position as the GM of Minnesota.
Okay.
I want to know what you're going to do is give me a number. What are you paying him for 3 years? What are you giving him?
I'm going to give him 3 years, $43 million a year, and I'm going to guarantee the first 2 years.
Okay. So now there's liable to be somebody that's going to come right up behind you.
Yeah.
And turn around and give him 45 to 50 million a year.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
And guarantee 3 years and actually offer him a 5-year deal.
It's very possible. Sure.
Okay. And just because by the quarterback standard, 42 million or so is really not that much money.
No, but again, I don't know what the cap situation is. I do have a young quarterback.
I know there's a lot of variables, but I'm just saying that, here it is, perfect scenario. The season is over. It now comes time. You're sitting at the desk. You got to write up a contract. You're contacting his agent now. What do you say on the phone? 3 years, $42 million a year.
I would tell you, to be honest with you, I think it's a
80 million guaranteed. That's what you're saying?
I would tell you the truth. I think it's going to be a 4-year deal, 40 something. Let's go 42, 43 million a year, but I'm going to guarantee the first 2 years. I'm going to give him 80 million guaranteed. Can't go for a whole year.
Everything I just said is basically it.
Yeah, basically it. That's what I'm offering. Could somebody do more? Sure.
You already know that somebody else is coming behind that, because if somebody has one good year, that's it. They're the next big thing.
I agree with you. The thing you have to hope for if you're the Vikings is that he realizes how well he's played in that system and how much it fits him, and he finds a way to stay right where he is. To me, that's the perfect scenario. Now, he can easily take, there's a chance that the 49ers are looking for a quarterback. I mean, they're going to pay Purdy next year. Do they feel comfortable enough to give him big money? I don't know. The Dolphins may be looking for a quarterback. The Giants are looking for a quarterback. There's a lot of teams out there that are going to be looking for quarterbacks. Yeah. He's going to write his own check. Joe, do I think he gets $50 million? I would have a hard time believing somebody's going to give Sam Darnold $50 million.
I got to get a drink water, but think of this, but while I'm going to get a drink, okay? Mm-hmm. Thinking of money that Brock Osweiler got.
No, I get it. There's always an idiot.
At least Sam Darnold has a body of work.
I agree.
He's been in the league a number of years. He's been on a couple different teams.
Yeah.
Okay. Brock Osweiler, what did he get? $72 million, and the world was up in arms over it.
Yeah.
And he played, 4 or 5 games.
Yeah. And then got really good. But yeah, so to me, Joe, yeah, the possibility that McCarthy could get traded. Now, listen, the perfect scenario, if you're the Vikings, is do what the Packers have done. Keep the kid there. Let him sit behind Donald for 3 years. Give Donald the 4-year deal, guarantee 2 of them, and then you see where you're at. And if the team is taking a nosedive, or if Donald's taking a nosedive, you can always release him, after the second year and start to play the kid. To me, I think the biggest sin most of these teams are making anyway is that they're forcing these kids on the field in their first or second year when they're not ready. We're starting to see how valuable it is for these guys to stay upright and get to that year 5 and 6. I mean, Baker's starting to look like a real quarterback. Geno Smith, who I don't like, but is starting to play like a legitimate NFL quarterback. We've talked about Goff and how well that did. Love up in Green Bay, he's had for 4 years. Now I think he regressed this year, but I think there's something to be said about guys sitting on the bench for 2 or 3 years behind the veteran and learning their craft and not being rushed onto the field. I mean, look at the kid in Carolina, Bryce Young. I mean, they were running him out of the league. He started to come around this year, but guys are expecting these kids to come up to this level and play against men. When they're playing in college, guys, there's maybe, let's say Alabama's playing Georgia. That might be a bad example, but let's say, there's probably 4 guys on that defense, 5 at most, who are legitimate NFL stars. I'm not talking about backups. I'm just talking about NFL stars. So you're out there playing against 11 guys, and there's maybe 2 or 3 guys who are in his category that you would say as a star quarterback for Alabama, right? Or for whatever team it is. At some point, you got to let these kids catch up. You got to let them get up there and experience it not only in practices, but in preseason games and in spot duty during some of these games, and let the game catch up to them. Everybody knows we've all played football at lower levels. When you play at that level, no matter what level it is, when you first get there, it's going 100 miles an hour. And then all of a sudden one day, if you stick around long enough, the next thing you know, it slows down for you. Whatever level it is. It doesn't matter if you're playing street ball for the first time or you're playing the NFL. Whatever level competition you're at, it's fast because you got to get used to it. Then all of a sudden one day you're playing and you go, oh, I can compete here. I see what's going on. So I think that the likelihood or the necessity of the salary cap has forced these teams to try to save money and play these young kids day one because you're paying them $6, $7, $8, $10 million instead of the $40 million these guys are getting. So to me, if I'm the Vikings and I can hold on to Donald, 4-year deal, 2 guaranteed, and then you reevaluate McCarthy and him after year 2, and then if he's ready and you don't want to pay the money, I say fine. Now who knows? Donald might not take that deal. He may want to move on and get I don't know if anybody's going to start giving out these guaranteed 4-year deals anymore. The Browns are choking on Deshaun Watson. In fact, they just redid his deal so that they get some relief. Joe, I agree. That is the problem. And that's why I say for the Giants, keep Dable and Shane, because you can't give these guys. Here's the thing. When you give a guy 2 or 3 years to turn around a team that's been bad for a lot of years, they make bad decisions because they're not building for the future. They're trying to win today. And when you try to win today, you're making poor decisions. You're not making decisions that best suit the franchise for the next 5 or 10 years. You don't develop players. You rush guys onto the field. You bring in free agents who don't fit because you're trying to win a bunch of games just to keep your job. To me, that's why guys like Landry and Noel and Jimmy Johnson were so successful, because they had 10 years. There was no such thing as 2 years and we reevaluate. Gerard Mayo in New England, they're talking about firing a guy after 1 season. It's ridiculous. That's the problem.
You form these man crushes on these coaches and general managers that the Giants get, and you're afraid to peel away when it's obvious that they have a part in the team being as bad as it is. Right now with the Giants in their situation this year, Okay, the offensive line hasn't been good. The quarterback hasn't been good.
Correct.
They talked about trying to get a different quarterback last year.
Yep.
And they didn't. They stuck with Danny Jones, and now he's gone.
Sure.
But I mean, you know what? You're the coach. You're supposed to be able to get the most out of your players. Losing 9-10 games in a row.
But what if that's the most you can put? Here's the thing. What if the talent value on that team, and that is the most you can get? What if that's the most talent? That's the most you can get out of the talent you have. I agree with you.
Last year in the offseason, there was talk on this show that the Giants could make the playoffs.
Sure,
and if they get in the playoffs, then you never know what could happen. And evidently they're not making the playoffs.
Yeah,
and evidently they're a bad team. And evidently, to me, the coach and general manager have to start answering questions about this too. You were looking to fire Robert Saleh after year 2.
He was a bad football coach.
He got the coach. He got the team pointed in the right direction a little bit more every year. He was 2-3 when he got fired this year. The Jets have won one other game, 2 other games.
Again, my problem with Saleh was not the team. My problem with Robert Saleh was he was a bad football coach. You know, it's almost the same thing with Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell is a great motivator, great builder of culture, but as an X's and O's guy, he's horrendous. And
14-2. His record says that he's not.
Would I fire him? I say no. I'm not telling you I'd fire him. I'm just saying this. But to me, my
awful coaches don't go 14-2.
I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying is he's managed to put a good team on the field. His general manager got good talent, and they get away with it. But Robert Saleh didn't have great talent. He had better talent than it showed. The defense did not play well. And the Jets overreact. They should never have fired him in season. He should have been fired before the season. My problem with Robert Saleh is he can't manage a football game. To me, if you're on the sideline of a team and you can't call timeouts, you can't get the right plays in, your team gets tons of penalties, you don't deserve to be a head football coach.
That sounds like every bad football team in the NFL.
No, it's not true. That's not true at all. You could be a really good football coach and just have a bad team. It could be injuries. It could be lack of talent. But if you know how to manage a game, you know how to manage a game. I'm not telling you that translates to wins every week. All I'm saying is if you go out there and you don't know when to use your timeouts, when you don't know how to kick and punt and strategy, that's bad enough. And when your team is undisciplined, and the Jets are one of the most undisciplined teams in the NFL. I watch their games. I watch their post-game show every week. And Bart Scott and that crowd, they rip that team from solid to here because every week they get.
All right, so now let me ask you this.
Okay.
They just had 16 penalties last week.
The Jets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, 16 penalties. Robert Saleh has not been a coach on that team since week 5.
Yep.
And I understand you're not blaming him, specifically, but they got Jeff Ulbrich. The team has gotten worse.
Correct.
So evidently, Jeff Ulbrich is definitely a worse coach than Robert Saleh was.
Oh, absolutely. Jeff Ulbrich will never be a head coach in this league ever.
As a matter of fact, I don't even think he's ever going to become anything in this league.
Well, he better hope that Saleh gets a job someplace he can bring him over there, or he may go back to college. But he has shown nothing, and his team has been more undisciplined than when Saleh was the head coach. So I agree with you. I'm just saying my problem with Robert Saleh had nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers getting hurt. My first problem with Robert Saleh is you had one of the best defenses last year, and it came out this year, and they were flat. Guys didn't tackle.
Oh, wait a minute now. So you're saying – you got to make your mind up here.
I
First, he shouldn't have been fired after 5 games, but he should have been fired before the season started.
Yes, he should never come back.
Now you went 5 games.
But you can't fire guys in the middle of the season. It just doesn't make any sense.
You went 5 games with the Jets. When we've said on this show that because a lot of people don't play any of their starters in the preseason, it's like week 1 doesn't really start in the NFL till about week 5.
Yeah, he should never have been fired in the middle of the season.
I'm just bringing up points. I'm bringing up.
But again, I'm not disagreeing with you. I would never have fired him in game 5.
And it's beyond that. It's beyond him getting fired. Okay, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, Joe. Aaron Rodgers, definitely something was up with Aaron Rodgers before he came to the Jets.
He's old.
It's called old age.
Yeah.
Okay? Tom Brady ruined a lot of things for a lot of people. I've said it more than one time on this show. Okay, you can't expect 40-something-year-old men to play a game that evolves around 20-something-year-old men. That's one thing. Second of all, when a running back is deemed no longer to be able to play in this league at 27, 28, 29 years old, you can't expect a quarterback who has a lot more to do than just run through a hole that a running back does. Guide the team, call different, everything that a quarterback has to do. But you expect a quarterback to do it well into his 40s. It's very few people could do that. Aaron Rodgers looks like he stopped playing football more than 2 years ago. He just looks fucking horrible, man.
Yeah.
There's nothing about him that makes me say this guy's a great quarterback. He's definitely not a great quarterback now. He may be better than some of the quarterbacks in the league right now, but he's definitely in the lower half. He's not even in the middle of the pack. He's below the middle of the pack to me.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. If the Jets would be thrilled if he retired.
And when I say about Tom Brady and Rodgers, it's the age, bro. Tom Brady was, 44, 45?
Yeah.
Talking about the age that these guys are at. Because Tom Brady played at a high level into his 40s, that's why they thought Drew Brees was going to be able to do it, why Peyton Manning could do it, Aaron Rodgers could be able to do it. A couple other guys that their names I can't remember right now, right off the top of my head. And they can't, because not everybody was Tom Brady. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, listen, that guy's the unicorn. Yeah, different. It's different. Yeah, it's a different ball game. He lived and breathed every day about football. I mean, the guy was eating avocado ice cream.
Aaron Rodgers. I thought I wanted to slap Tom Brady. I want to I can't hit Aaron Rodgers hard enough if I got the chance. Because I just don't like the look on his fucking face.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, there was a definite downside to him in Green Bay. He wasn't the same quarterback the last couple of years. I thought that there was a chance he could come here with a talented team. Problem was, again, I thought him forcing his coach onto this team, the offensive coordinator, I think was a big problem for him and wound up for the team and for Saleh. Got Saleh fired, and I also thought that there was a step back, and he never adjusted to the guys on his team. He never kind of fell into Garrett Wilson and worked with him, and I think that was a big problem for him. And you're right, Jeff. He just Father Time caught up, and he couldn't find a way to adjust to it. He kept thinking he could do what he did 5 years ago, and he obviously couldn't.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
It is, and it set the Jets back, and now it's salary cap hell, because if he wants to come back, I think they're stuck with him. What do you do with him? I think if you're the Jets, you got to hope he wakes up and goes, "I want to retire," and they can move on. Then what do you do in the offseason? You're going to bring a new coach, new GM in, and they're stuck with this guy as you think. I don't know what they could do salary cap wise with him. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting.
There's only one thing they could do: cut ties with him and suffer.
That's probably to be honest with you. The only problem with it is you're wasting some prime time with guys like Sauce Gardner, who may be a bit overrated, Quentin Williams, who's not overrated, Garrett Wilson, who I think is a really good player, Breece Hall. See, they have some talent, and what you hate to see is them being salary cap hell for another year or two because of Rodgers. But listen, that's
Listen, you know what you do? I can tell you right now what you do. Okay, fucking trade Sauce Gardner. Do what you got to do to keep Garrett Wilson. He's going to help you out later on in his career, without a doubt. He'll be somebody that you're glad you kept.
Yep.
Keep Quentin Williams, okay? Get another defensive lineman. Breece Hall. All right, Breece Hall might have had a down year this year, but give him one more year. See what happens. See if he rebounds, okay?
Yeah.
You could build a team around those people. Trade Sauce Gardner. Seriously, trade him. He's not really doing much for this team.
No, not at all.
If you could get rid of him and move on, get somebody better, I think you have to do it.
No, I would agree.
Okay, you might be able to get something in return for him. Maybe you get a third rounder. I don't know. I don't know what you can get for him. I don't know. But see what you can do for him. See what you can do to move on from him.
Yeah, I would agree. Again, the Jets have, much like the Giants, there's a lot of work to be done. The offseason's around the corner. It'll start for them real quick after this Sunday. We'll see Monday morning. obviously Jeff Ulbrich will not be the Jets head coach next year. He will not be on the Jet coaching staff next year. There's going to be a bloodletting on both teams. Now, how deep, we'll find out. Is Aaron Rodgers coming back? Is Brian Dable and Joe Shane coming back? Who's going to be the quarterback for either team? And there's a lot to be fixed in this offseason. So we'll say, hey, Michael, welcome back. Happy New Year to you as well. I do want to mention we're going to get to Jeff's. We'll get ready to do the dead list. I'm going to just preempt the dead list by bringing up Jimmy Carter passed away this week. I'm sure it made Jeff's list. I don't know if your list is in chronological order of who passed away at what point or just a general list.
No, I just start putting in people who died in 2024 and then variate off of that.
All right.
Jimmy Carter definitely made the top of the list, because he was Jimmy Carter, but he's actually more of one of the people that, even if invited, are not going to attend the inauguration in a couple days.
No,
and that would have been Jimmy Carter, man.
Yeah, Jimmy Carter will not be there. Yeah. I thought it interesting. Trump's actually going to his funeral, and was invited to go there, which I was surprised. I know he has not been the kindest person to Jimmy Carter, as fact of his legacy. And listen, call it what it is. I mean, people are going to say nice things about Jimmy Carter, and I've watched a special about the Secret Service, and they talk about how he was one of the nastiest, unfriendly presidents of all time. But let's call it what it was. Jimmy Carter, whether he was a good guy or not, a great governor of Georgia, I don't know. He was a shit president, and it was one of the worst times in this country. His fault or not, it's on your plate. I think the only guy that in my lifetime that rivals him would be the current meat puppet. So I don't want to be unkind to Jimmy Carter. The guy passed away, but I'm not going to sit there and throw bouquets. The guy was a terrible president. I mean, just, the worst times of this country in my lifetime is that period. And, stark difference from what happens right after and going forward, prosperity, and we start to build. But Jimmy Carter might have been a great guy who Homes for Humanity and all that other place. Guy was out there in his 70s and 80s building houses for people. I'm going to text me. Now stop funding the Secret Service. It's like putting him on a hit on him. But again, at some point you got to turn around and say, he a nice man maybe, but a terrible president. I'm not throwing bouquets. We'll see what his legacy is in 10 years. It hasn't been good till now. Maybe it'll be better. And the same thing for the meat puppet that's in office right now. So we'll see how all that changes. But Jeff, without further ado, I would like to turn it over to you. And it's time to, unfortunately, for all the people on the list, it's time to read what we call here the dead list, the people who have passed away in the year of 2024. Jeff?
Oh, here we go. And like I said, Jimmy Carter, invited or not, he will not be attending this year's inauguration. So you could scratch him off the list. Maybe they'll allow us to raffle off his ticket if he was getting one. That'd be cool, huh?
Yeah, that'd be cool, yeah.
All right, so then we go on to the next one. Jill Jacobson from the show Falcon Crest. Any idea who she was?
Jill Jacobson. The name does not ring. I remember the show Falcon Crest at 10 o'clock on Friday nights.
Well, that's basically why I did was that's why she was on the list, because if her claim to fame is she was on Falcon Crest, she's got to make the list, right?
Yeah.
Jim Tunney, NFL referee.
Oh, yeah, legend.
Jim Wilkerson, NFL player. Slim Dunlop, guitar player for a band called The Replacements.
Okay.
No, I never heard of him either.
Me either.
Alpha Anderson, she was the singer of the band Chic. Remember them from the 70s when you went out in your tight pants and your platform shoes?
Yes.
Okay. Ole Anderson from the wrestling world.
Oh, I didn't know Ole Anderson died. Wow.
Not Ole Anderson, Ole
Anderson. No, his brother Ole Anderson, yes.
Yeah,
one of the horsemen, I believe.
Thought he was dead, yeah. One of the first four of the four horsemen. I don't understand how you can have the four horsemen, but there was about 73 people in there, but okay.
Virgil. It was just 85, but go ahead.
Yeah. Virgil, the $1 Million Bodyguard, gone. Paul Vachon, gone. Sika Offa, Any idea? Remember them? Do you remember them?
Sure,
Fellas?
Wild Samoans.
There you
Bloodline
go.
is still in the WWF today.
Yeah, they're roots
Rock,
run deep, right?
Roman
They're gone.
Reigns. Sure.
Kevin Sullivan, he's gone. Sid
Okay.
Vicious, as well as Rey Mysterio Sr., not Junior, Sr.
Okay.
Rey Mysterio's dad. Okay, and then we got David Soul. You know who David Soul
Sure,
is, right?
dude. Say, Starsky and Hutch.
Mike, you got to wait for the list, man. You got to wait for the list, okay?
Gotcha, Mike. Got to be patient.
Well, he was
Just,
only
let's make sure that my name's on the list, Mike. That's all I
not
care.
Starsky. I didn't put your name on there yet, but I do have the pen in case I got to pencil somebody in quick.
He was Hutch, wasn't he?
Yes. Joyce
also-
Randolph.
He also had a big hit song back in the day.
Hey, Don't Give Up on Me, Baby.
Is that the name of it?
It was fucking gay. I
Yes.
remember when it was out. It was gay.
It
Matter
was.
of fact, gay men said it was gay. That's how gay it was.
Gay men shut it off when it came on.
Yeah. Yeah. Joyce Randolph at 99 years old, the last surviving member of the Honeymooners.
Yeah. Oh.
Paul Weathers, Apollo Creed. He
One of the
couldn't-
most underrated actors ever. A great
Yeah.
comedic.
Rocky, the
Yeah.
Predator series, a couple others. And yeah, he's gone. And here's something I don't understand. Here's somebody that had money. He died of some kind of heart blockage, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, didn't you have enough money to go to the fucking doctor, man? Come on. You know what I mean? Toby Keith, gone. Tony Ganos. Any idea who he is? Take a guess.
Who? Tony who?
Tony Ganos.
No idea.
He was Meat from Porky's, the Porky series. Remember them?
Oh, okay, sure.
Richard Lewis. Louis Gossett Jr.
Oh, I love Louis Gossett Jr. Now, there's a guy, great actor.
Yeah, well, I hope you've seen his last stuff because that's it.
Meat, that's right. Frank Cadillac, that was Meat.
Yep.
That's right.
Sissy Houston, Whitney's mom. They're back together again up in heaven. Liam Payne. He is in No More after he fell out and landed on the cement.
Oh, is
He's
that the boy band guy, One Direction or something? Okay.
Mhm. Mitzi Gaynor. You've heard of
Oh.
Mitzi Gaynor, right?
Yeah, I heard of Mitzi Gaynor. Sure.
I thought she was gone a long time ago. Jack Jones. Any idea, Jack Jones? I'll
No
give you
idea.
$1 if you can tell me who Jack Jones is.
No idea.
But you give me 5 if you don't know.
I'll send you a check.
Okay. He sang the Love Boat theme.
Really?
Really.
Just watched the Love Boat a couple days ago, as a matter of fact.
Phil Lesh, bass player and founding member of the Grateful Dead. Thank you, Phil.
Yeah. I never
Not
got
for
to
what you
Grateful Dead.
did, but for finally leaving.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it has to be one of the most overrated, terrible bands of all time. Sorry. It's just, I don't get it.
You don't have to apologize to me. Every once in a while, to make sure that I still hate them, I go through YouTube, not YouTube, iTunes, and I pick a song, just anyone. I listen to it for 30 seconds, and I'm like, I can't fucking believe that. I can't believe that. That's right, sweetie, the Love Boat. I'll give you $5 now. So once Tommy
Jones.
sends it to me, I'll give it to you.
There you go. I never heard of it.
Terry Garr.
Oh, Terry Goff, Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, she was quite the looker in her day.
Yes.
And then she had MS and became all bloated and couldn't move.
It's a shame.
Alan Ratchins. I don't know how you pronounce it, but he was on the LA Law. Quincy Jones. You know Quincy Jones, right?
Yeah, listen, one of the the greatest producers. Did We Are the World and a lot of Michael Jackson and Motown stuff. Yeah, one of the greats, I guess.
Tony Todd. He is gone now, so it is now safe to say Candyman 3 times in front of the mirror. He's not coming to get us.
He was the Candyman. Okay.
Yeah, he was big time.
He was big time.
Okay, Colin Peterson, the drummer, the original drummer for the Bee Gees, gone.
Oh, okay.
Chuck Woolery. He used to say he'll be back in 2 and 2. He's never coming back. He's
Chuck
done.
Woolery. Chuck
83 years
Woolery
old.
was still a sharp dude. I saw him on Fox a couple times in the last few years. Still a sharp guy. Still a good-looking guy.
Yeah, they showed some pictures of him. He definitely had some moms moisten up. Earl Holliman. Any idea who Earl Holliman was?
Earl Holliman was famous for being on with Angie Dickinson.
Oh, look at this, man.
Police
Wow. You
Police
did your own dead list, didn't you?
No, I know Earl Holliman. I mean, He was on Police Woman. Yeah.
And okay, bonus points if you remember her name on the show.
She was Pepper.
Yep.
God,
I don't think she had a last name, but it was Pepper.
Yeah, Pepper was her name. I don't know what her real name was. I wasn't a big fan of the show. I always thought she was a little overrated as a looker, to be honest with you.
We were younger and everything else. She's still alive.
Yes, she's still alive.
And she's well into her 90s.
Wow, is she that old, huh? Wow.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
she was old when we were watching it.
That's very true.
Okay. All right. Mike Bifoco, I hope you're still watching because we're going to be getting to your possibly get to him. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Next on the list, Michael Cole. He was on the Mod Squad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Here's one that I thought died a long time ago. The Amazing Kreskin.
Yeah, I just heard that I thought he passed a long time ago.
Yeah.
I meant to look
just, did he know that he was going to die?
That's a very good question. And did he escape?
Valid question. Valid question.
Valid question. It's a valid question.
Okay, so I'm going to skip this one and go to the last one because then I'm going to go back to the one that I'm skipping. Okay, Art Evans from Die Hard 2. Tommy will go up and down the road with you. Pepper Anderson. Look, Mike knows. He's a little bit older than us. That's why.
There you go, Mike.
Okay. He'll say that who was one of the L's or something in the Christmas movie Die Hard, but I say bullshit.
Christmas movie.
Now, that brings us to Mike, his question before about Ricky Henderson. Yes, Ricky Henderson did make the list, but I have questions about Ricky Henderson.
Go ahead.
Ricky Henderson died of complications from pneumonia. Any idea where Ricky lived?
I would say California, but
you're right, California. Any idea what area of California Ricky lived?
I would say in the Oakland area.
Well, close, but not quite.
Where?
He lived in San Francisco.
Okay.
Ricky Henderson, single, died of complications from pneumonia. Lived in San Francisco.
Are you making accusations?
I'm not making accusations. I'm just saying there's a lot of things that tie into one another.
So are you saying that there's a possibility that Ricky lived an alternate lifestyle?
Yeah, I'm thinking that Ricky was the lifestyle.
Ricky was Ricky.
Ricky's going out after this game. Gonna go get him some dick. Okay.
Yes. All right. It's an interesting theory. San Francisco. Go ahead.
Okay. Now we get into the music world a little bit. On top of the list, Paul Di'Anno, singer for Iron Maiden.
That was a
Next
tough one.
On the list, Scott Simon. Any idea who Scott Simon is? San Francisco, Mike. He lived in San Francisco.
Scott Simon. No, I don't know who Scott Simon is.
Scott Simon was the keyboard player, piano player for the TV band Sha Na Na, better known as Screamin' Scott.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I had the pleasure of meeting Screamin' Scott and Bowser in a diner in Pennsylvania with my mother and father and brother back in the 70s sometime.
Come on.
And we have their autograph someplace. I don't know wherever it is. They were two of the nicest guys that you'd ever want to meet.
Really?
Yeah, and they were two of my favorites from the show. We used to watch the show.
Oh, sure. We watched it, sure.
But rest in peace, Mr. Simon. I remember spending many a night watching Sha Na Na and enjoying it very much. Thank you for what you did for us.
Yeah, I loved that show growing up.
Greg Kinn.
Oh, the Greg Kinn band. Yeah.
Yeah, he is no longer with us. He's gone. Jack Russell from Great White. John Mayall from John Mayall and the Blues Breakers. Evelyn Thomas. She was a disco singer. I don't know what song it was. She came up on the list. I've heard the name before. I put her on the list.
All right.
Kinky Friedman. You ever hear of Kinky Friedman?
Kinky Friedman?
Kinky, Kinky.
Yeah, Kinky Friedman. No.
He was a political activist of some kind. He used to be on the Imus in the Morning show a lot.
I just looked him up. Yeah, I just looked him up.
I had to get him.
American singer, songwriter, novelist, humorist, and columnist for the Texas Monthly. Okay.
John Wysocki. He was the original drummer for Stained.
Okay.
Dennis Thompson, last member of MC5.
Oh, wow. Again, another band that I never got. I've listened to the MC5. Everybody raves about the MC5. I want to throw a brick at the MC5s when it's on the radio.
I don't know if I want to throw a brick at them because I too have listened to them and can't figure out what it is. They made the Ramones sound like fucking Queensryche. Frank Catalano, one day you're gonna have to send me a note and tell me what is it about the MC5.
Yeah, I tried, Frankie. I can't tell you.
I don't know.
Every band from the Midwest, the MC5 were my inspirations. I went and listened. I wanted to throw a brick at the music. I was searching my house for a brick. If I could have found one,
are they like the only band out there? I don't know.
I don't know. Very interesting because I didn't get it, but they were. I would say this at the very least, they were.
Raw is a good word for them, bro.
Yeah, but they were inspirational. They tons of bands. I wonder if it's one of those bands that everybody says they inspired me. Meanwhile, they thought they suck, but they feel like they have to say it. You know, like there are certain bands.
I know that the Ramones, Joey Ramone, was a huge fan.
Oh yeah, no, there's so many people out there who say it. I listen to it. I go, I don't get it. But go ahead. Sorry.
John Barbata. He was the drummer for the Turtles and Jefferson Starship.
Okay.
Dwayne Eddy. He was a rockabilly type guy. Had a song called Rebel Rouser and a few others. You've definitely heard it before. Next, CJ Snare, singer for Firehouse. Eric Carmen.
Oh yeah. Very underrated singer. Very underrated singer. Very, very good singer. I like Firehouse. I've come to like a lot of their stuff now.
I'm not. I know a couple of their songs. I'm not really too.
No, it wouldn't be it's not your wheelhouse, but I like their stuff.
Eric Carmen from the band The Raspberries, who sang a song "Go All the Way." You've definitely heard it before. It was actually a cool song.
Okay,
it's still a cool song. After that, there's no more cool songs. Steve Lawrence, famous.
Edie Gourmet, Steve Lawrence. Yeah, sure.
Yes.
How old was he? Do you know how old he was when he died?
No, I didn't get the age for all of them.
Okay.
He was one of the ones that did not get the age for, but he was up there.
Big on the Carol Burnett show back in the day.
Yes.
Always on the Carol Burnett show. He was.
I'm going to say 93.
He was close to 90. Yeah, 90. Born in 1935. So yeah, 90 something years old. Wow.
Well, 89. He would have been 90 this year.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, my math's off. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here we go. O.J. Simpson. Everybody thought everybody thought that he killed his ex-wife. He did not kill his ex-wife. Wink, wink. Okay. He was found innocent. Depression was too much on him. He went for a nice Friday night ride with Al Cowan, and the rest of his life was never the same after that.
And yet did more time for robbing his own memorabilia back.
Yeah, then he did double first-degree murder charges, right?
Let me ask you a question. What do you think? I think it's so long since he played that most people aren't even going to know that O.J. Simpson was a great football player, and not only that, just for the record, O.J. Simpson in those the Naked Gun movies was fantastic. He actually did some really good work. He was in Towering Inferno. He was actually a pretty good actor.
Yeah, I was going to say he became a good actor.
Yeah, he really did some good stuff.
He was tied to some heinous crimes, which he didn't do it, right?
No, wink, wink. Okay. The juice.
Fucking guy. Okay. Almost cut a head off that scum fuck.
Oof, wow.
All right, but before we go any further, Dickie Betts from the Allman Brothers.
Oh, I'm not a fan, but huge talent.
Yeah. We got to have a couple names coming up now where you're not going to know who they were, but they were important in our lives.
Yep.
Okay. That wasn't acted, Frankie boy. That wasn't acted.
Well, he definitely acted innocent. That's for sure.
Yeah, that fucking. It was Kato. That fucking dick. Terry Carter. He was. I don't know who he was. Okay, but he was a tie to another old police show, and I was like, I'm putting him on the list. Any idea who he was? What police show he was tied to?
Only because I just looked him up. Sorry, I had to see who he was. And if I'm not mistaken, he was also. Let me see something. Hold on a second. Come on, that's not giving me his. Terry Carter, actor McLeod. Oh, he was okay. He was also Colonel Ty on Battlestar Galactica.
Yes. There was so many guys had 2 or 3 different things, and you definitely know them from those things.
95 years old, man. God bless him.
Susan, I can't pronounce this because I can't read it. I wrote it. Susan Buck something. She was the cheerleader from Grease. Okay. Dabney Coleman. You know Dabney Coleman.
Oh, right? Dabney Coleman, 9 to 5.
So many
good
different things.
Yeah, good. One of those guys was never a leading man, but was in a lot of movies back in the 70s and 80s.
Yes. Oh, he finally is gone.
Terrific actor. Oh, sorry to hear that. Man,
Morgan Spurlock. He was another one. I can't remember who he was or what he did. They listed too many different things that he was involved in that he had to be put on the list. It just, well, rest in peace, Morgan. Yeah. Next brings us up to Richard Sherman, not the football player. Yes, that is correct, Frank. Richard Sherman, he was not the football player. He was a composer. He composed a song for the theme song for Mary Poppins.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Brings us now to Bill Walton. Janice Page, she hit 101. I figured that we get a Centurion on the list.
Yes.
Benji Gregory from Alf.
Oh, I loved Alf.
No, there will be no more reunion show with Benji at least.
Wow.
Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid.
Say Hey Kid.
93. Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland is one of the most underrated actors of our generation.
He had quite a way about him, didn't he?
Yeah, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. Dirty Dozen. He was he was in Dirty Dozen. He was also Kelly's Heroes. Terrific actor. Animal House, great
Animal
actor.
House, yeah.
Great actor.
He's the one that would you like to smoke some pot? And he's sitting there in his underwear with the girl.
He always, whenever I saw Donald Sutherland, I always said he looks like he smells. He just looked like he had a garlic odor about him. That's all. Like he didn't wash properly.
Yeah,
he was a great actor. But I think he stunk. That's just my opinion. I never met the guy.
Shifty Shellshock, singer from Crazy Town.
Shifty Shellshock. That's an interesting one. That's a real name, or is that?
Yeah, that was his stage name. I don't know what his real name is.
It doesn't matter.
Bill Cobbs. I don't know what he did. He was another one of those actors that you knew what he did. You seen him without a doubt. Martin Mull. He was on Roseanne and a couple other. He was another character actor.
Oh yeah, Demolition Man. Oh, you ever watched the movie Demolition Man? Bill Cobb.
Yes, Frankie Butterfly. Yes, that's it. The name of the song that he sang was Butterfly.
Bill Cobb,
the guy from the Oak Ridge Boys, Joe.
Papa Mau Mau.
Yeah, yep.
That is the best. That song comes on. I got to stop just to hear that.
Now, let me test your knowledge about the Oak Ridge Boys.
Good.
Okay, how many people do you think were in the Oak Ridge Boys?
Well, that's a great question. I'm not a huge Oak Ridge Boys fan. I do remember them back in the late 70s and 80s.
Well, let me stop you right there.
I would say there was probably 10 people in the Oak Ridge Boys.
Oh, not even close. I don't know what the number was, to be honest with you. The Oak Ridge Boys started in 1946.
Come on.
Yeah. They were a gospel group that changed direction and became country sometime in the mid to late 70s, where they came up with that song, Papa Pow, whatever the fuck it was you were singing there.
Wow.
And they went through, man, they must have had about 20 members. So,
I'll tell you, want to know how many? I have it up on the screen here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
I'm going to say 17.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31 And that does not include the current thing. So that makes a total of 35 different members from 1945 through, I guess, today. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But my man, Boom Papa Mau Mau, was the best guy ever. That was the guy.
So now we turn the page as we're on our last page, but then we got both sides, so don't fret you just yet.
Mau Mau,
we got Shelley Duvall.
Who?
Shelley Duvall.
Oh, Shelley Duvall. Very ugly woman. I'm sorry to say that, but people made it out like she was this gorgeous woman. And I just never saw her. She was Shining, right? She was in Shining. Elvira. So that is a song, Frankie. Popeye.
She was Olive Oil and Popeye.
Perfect casting for Olive Oil. Perfect casting.
Dr. Ruth, sex expert. Dr. Ruth. Meanwhile, it looks like she spent a lot of time rubbing one out.
I gotta tell you, as a kid, Sundays, I used to sneak the radio on at like 10 o'clock at night. Dr. Ruth would come on, and you would listen to her talk about all these different sex things that was never ever talked about anywhere. But Sunday nights at like 10 o'clock, Dr. Ruth would come on. I don't remember what station it was. And she would be talking about hand jobs and blow jobs and this and that. And you're like, what the freak is this? I was 12, 13 years old. I was like, I got to hear this again.
Yeah, I hear
Dr.
you.
Dr. Ruth Westheimer.
Richard Simmons. He made the list. He was gone for a while. Everybody might have thought he died. Nobody found him, but it's official. He's gone.
Yeah.
James Sicking. Okay, he was on. He was the father on Doogie Howser, MD.
What's that big
Shannon Doherty?
Oh,
what's that?
Wasn't a big Doogie fan.
No. Well, of course, we all rub one out when we heard that. Frank at that age, I'm pushing 60. I'll still rub one out when I hear that at my age. What can I tell you? Shannon Doherty died of cancer, of everything at 53 years old.
Yeah, shame, but so young.
Here's one that you might remember. I know you're going to remember this one. He was fucking great. Bob Newhart, 94 years old.
Bob Newhart. I have to tell you, I was never a big fan of his shows. He played the same character. I just couldn't get
the actual second Bob Newhart show he did.
Which one? The one
incredible, man.
The one he played the psychiatrist.
No, the one with his neighbors going, "Hi, my name's Daryl. This is my other brother."
That was funny. That was funny.
Fucking funny, man.
That was funny. I agree with you.
Okay, John Aprea. Any idea who that is?
No, I have no idea who John Aprea is.
He played a young Tessio in Godfather 2.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Peter Marshall from Hollywood Squares, 98 years old.
Wow. I didn't realize he was still
Phil
alive.
Donahue, who conducted his last interview and checked out at 88 years old. This one here, I had to look up the age only because when he was on TV, I thought that he was about 78 years old when he was on TV. Then I thought he was dead, and then he actually died. And I was like, I thought he was dead for years. And that would be John Amos from Good Times and a whole bunch of other things.
John Amos was in one of the best Christmas movies of all time, Die Hard 2. A great actor. Showed up everywhere. He was on Hunter. The guy was on again the second Die Hard movie. What other good one he did? What was he? Coming to America with Eddie Murphy. Great actor. Great.
He was in a couple
actor,
different ones. 84 when he died.
Wow, that's it. Just 84. I thought he was be older.
Well, I thought he was 84 when he was on
Good Times.
Good Times, because JJ, believe it or not, is like 80 years old.
Yeah, it's funny. He was.
Yeah, that's right. Younger. I think he played Toby in Roots.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was the older version of Kunta Kinte.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me see. James Darren from the show Gidget way back then.
Okay.
James Earl Jones. 93 years old. Somebody's grandma.
The best voice ever.
Yes. Well, somebody's grandma got very moist because when Mr. Jones spoke, it went right through her.
James Darren, actually a good actor. He was also on Hook. He was on T.J. Hooker.
He was on a lot of different things. Star Wars, a lot of different things. Okay. Chad McQueen from Cobra Kai.
Great.
What was it? The fucking Netflix series, I believe.
Yep. Netflix series. Yeah.
There's another one. Here we go. Tito Jackson, Michael's brother.
Yes.
Gone.
Band's getting back together in heaven.
Yeah. Barbara Lee Hunt. Another one of those actresses that you know who she was. If you've seen her, you would know her. So many different things. I didn't write one down because my handwriting sucks and I just couldn't be bothered. So, but she's gone.
All right.
John Ashton. He was in Beverly Hills Cops.
Great actor. Did some A-Team stuff. Yeah, John Ashton just did the last the Beverly Hills Cop 4 had a small role. You can see he was not looking good. I don't know if he had cancer, but he didn't look good. But John Ashton was
he was in his 80s.
Oh yeah, good actor. Good actor.
Chris Christopherson. Another one that I thought was gone for a while.
Yeah.
Ron Eli from Tarzan.
Oh wow.
Pete Rose.
Yes, that's right. I forgot Pete died this year. That's right.
Rose, yeah. He's done. Frank Fitz from American Pickers. Gone. Okay.
Never watched that. I've seen the commercials. Never watched that American Pickers.
Yeah, it was not a big one. So now we're down to the last maybe 10 people or so.
Wow.
Britt Turner, he was the drummer for the band Blackberry Smoke, a favorite of Bill Graziano Sr. Cheetah Rivera. She's gone.
Nice actress.
Melanie, she sang the song Brand New Key. I have a brand new pair of roller skates. You have a brand new key.
Okay. I know the song. Terrible.
Annoying when I was a kid, annoying as I'm an adult. And now it doesn't matter what she has brand new. She can't use it. She's gone.
Yes.
James Kotick from the Scorpions and Kingdom Come.
Okay. Drummer?
Yes, drummer.
Okay.
Wayne Kramer. Any idea who Wayne is?
Wayne Kramer. No.
He was another member of the MC5, but not the last member of MC5 to go.
He died before the last member.
Yeah, he's that made second to last.
Yeah, they took the secret with them.
Yes. Well, actually,
why anybody actually likes the band? There's a secret to it, and I don't know what it is.
Well, remember that because if you ever go on, what is that, Jeopardy? And that question was like, who was the second to last member of MC5? You could say
Wayne Kramer. There you go.
Mike Pinder was the, I believe, keyboard player for Moody Blues. No, he was not. He was in the Moody Blues. I don't know what he played.
Okay.
Because the next guy was a keyboard player.
Moody Blues took it tough.
Richard Tandy from ELO. What did he write? That song was great in Boogie Nights when Heather Graham was skating around naked.
On the roll with the key.
Heather Graham could skate around naked to Slayer. It'd be great. We didn't have to hear that song again. That song sucked. Doug Engel from Iron Butterfly.
Another band I never really liked. Other than
Ingata Davida, I don't know what else they did.
I'm not sure either. Too much.
Sinfield, King Crimson, Bob Breyer, the drummer for My Chemical Romance. And then I got the last person that I was able to find on the list that we may have any interest in. I'm going to give you a chance to name that person. Let me give you a little background first.
Well, it have to be Jimmy Carter. You haven't mentioned Jimmy Carter in your list.
First one on the list. Were you paying attention?
Okay. I thought I mentioned it, but go ahead.
Anyway, the last person on the list was single mom. She worked in the diner.
Oh, yes. Alistair Linda Lavin just passed away.
Exactly. Yes, that's it. There you go.
Alistair Linda Lavin, who was the singer of the song. It was the most annoying voice in history of singers. That was a weird show. I watched that show every Sunday night with my parents.
Well, remember before you go any further, I did not know about Wayne Osmond, Frank. That one slipped through the cracks.
Oh, yeah. One of the Osmonds just died. I think it was today. I think it might have been today or yesterday, so he doesn't count.
Well, he doesn't count towards 2024.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just today or yesterday, so I don't think Wayne.
Have to look that up. But most people only had one TV in the house.
Oh, sure.
So it really didn't matter when he died today. Well, then that's
it doesn't count, Frank.
You're officially banned from the show.
Yeah,
you're trying to squeeze people onto a list.
This is the 2024 list. This is not
2024, man. You're forbidden.
Linda Lavin was that show was weird in a sense. They had a woman on there who was supposed to be the sex symbol. Polly Holiday played Flo. She was horrendous looking. The only thing that was worked on that show was Vic Tayback as Mel. He was funny as hell. The rest of it just sucked, but I watched that show every single week that it was on with my parents. I don't know, but
Wayne Osmond died yesterday.
yeah, I knew it was. I know it wasn't well before. I look up some of these ages of people and they die. Yeah, Frank, don't look up my age then, please. Don't look me up on Wikipedia or anything. Please. So that's the dead list. Unfortunately, fortunately, none of us have made it onto the list, so we're happy for that. Unfortunately, there was quite a list of people, notable celebrities, and we thank them all for what they've brought in their careers, their talents. I'm sure they used them to the fullest. A lot of them brought back some great memories for us, and we wish them their families the best, and our condolences to all the families of the people who nice. So, Jeff, good job by you as you do every year. Do you save the dead list, or you put it in the drawer and you got a pile of them for the last 10 years?
I just drew it in the drawer now. Thank you, Michael. I just drew it in the drawer now, but I think I threw out last year's. I got last year. No, I have last year's.
Okay, see, Jeff's got a book. As long as your name doesn't want to be in a book, folks, you're all right.
Just real quick, just on the first page.
Yeah.
Just a couple notables: David Crosby, Jeff Beck, Lisa Marie Presley, Cindy Williams from Laverne and Shirley, Robbie Bachman from BTO.
A couple of guys from BTO passed away last year.
Yeah.
2023, I'm talking about. Yeah, there was a couple of that was this year's Moody Blues and MC5.
Yeah, that was just.
I want to say there were 3 guys who passed away from that band last year.
Raquel Welch last year. What's that?
I think there were 3 guys from BTO who passed away in 1 year, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know about that. I Bushwhacker Butch.
Oh, Bushwhackers.
I could look through the list and see.
That's not that important.
The one thing I can say is we have our first entry this year's list, and that was
Wayne Osmond.
Wayne Osmond.
There you go. Well, that's the dead list, and again, thanks for Jeff for putting it together. And unfortunately, we do it every year, but it is a kind of a highlight. It's our way of going back and remembering these notable celebrities. Maybe having a word to say. Listen, some of it wasn't kind, but we tell the truth here. You know, if they weren't the best looking people or the greatest musicians, but it kind of keeps their name alive, and I think that's always good for legacy. So we do that every year to kind of celebrate their lives and their talents and accomplishments. So it's not.
I would like to put an amendment on the list.
Go ahead.
I totally forgot.
What's that?
That would be Dom the Half Man Jinta.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We forgot one of our own. Look at that, man. Yeah. The Half Man.
The Half Man. Yeah, we missed the Half Man around here. It's a shame.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the Half Man was to make an appearance next week at this time.
Oh, it would be nice if the Half Man made an appearance this week and announced his own, but that's the little
I don't
problem on our end.
I don't think he could announce his own. If anything, he may come on and have something to say about the current state of the fucking Las Vegas Raiders.
Well, that he may also, I think he would also say he should have made the official list, but maybe he'll have something to say on next week.
That's why I had to put an amendment on it.
Yes, you'll have to make a note for yourself. Finishing up the show tonight, just for the record, I see something here about Canadian trio Triumph teases big year in 2025. 2025 will mark the 40th anniversary of the seminal live album Stages. So I don't know if that means we're going to see some concerts from the band, new music, old music, but there is an announcement that Triumph, if you're a fan of the band Triumph, and I am, we've had the opportunity to interview Rick Emmett on the show. Did you do that interview with me?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, Rick Emmett. I'm gonna reach out and see if I can get him back on the show to talk about anything. But Rick Emmett was a good listen and a good interview, and one of my favorite bands that I never think of being a favorite band, but that's a band that I got into early. Allied Forces, I think, is one of the better albums, and I want to get to albums in a minute before we close the show down. But be nice. But there's another big trio, not from Canada though, who's going to be marking some big news this year. Jeff, and are you aware of what I'm talking about?
I think so. I think I'm the one to let you in on it.
That's very true. And I did. I got it. Jeff and I were talking about it, and the premise or the storyline for the remake, or I'm saying the sequel to Spinal Tap, has been released, and to say the least, I'm excited. Looking forward to the release. It's been delayed a year with the director strike, and but it looks like the Spinal Tap sequel will be out in theaters sometime late in the spring or early in the summer, and we will be putting together a group to go see this movie. So Frank Catalano,
you can ask a group, but we may end up getting 2 or 3.
Listen, we will do nothing but just say whoever wants to go can meet us in the theater. But I will be sitting next to you. The original Spinal Tap. Again, I cut out of high school, went to meet Jeff and Nuda with my brother and I think Joey, and we went to see Spinal Tap for the first time that I went was with Jeff. And I, to this day, I will tell you, it's one of my favorite movies. I will watch it again this weekend right now because I'm excited for the new one, which I would think will be their last appearance. They're getting a bit old, Jeff, if you saw the images.
Yeah, I'm sure they are, man.
Yeah. So, but I am excited for new Spinal Tap music. I'm hoping we get some new music out of it.
I got to look this up. Keep going. I want to see their ages in real life.
Oh, they got to be early 70s, I would guess.
I think they got to be fucking older than that.
I don't think so. I would say 72, 73 in that range. I wouldn't be shocked if it was more. But so we got some stuff coming. Huh?
76 years old.
Okay, so I'm a little off, but yeah.
Michael McKean.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, 77 years old.
Okay.
Harry Shearer, 81 years old.
Harry Shearer's 81?
Yeah, Rob Reiner, 77 years old.
Fuck Rob Reiner. Fucking
so Christopher Guest at 76 is the youngster of the band.
Who would you say, take out Spinal Tap, take out the music end of it, who would you say is the best actor of the three?
Oh, I would have to say Michael McKean.
Would you say because of Lenny and Squiggy?
A lot of different things that he was in. He was in a lot of different things.
Christopher Guest. He did it. Christopher Guest had a great cameo, a great appearance in A Few Good Men.
I did not know that. I don't know what he did outside of Spinal Tap.
Yeah. Chris Guest did some good stuff. Harry Shearer is more of a voiceover guy. I don't know too many things he did.
Simpsons.
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of other cartoons too.
It might be.
Don't look them up till the movie. Don't look up the Spinal Tap guys till principal photography is done on the movie. I gotta have a Spinal Tap sequel, please. I've been looking forward to this thing for 3 years now. Please.
I go on. I'm just going right over here is my bureau. I want to get out the shirt that I'm going to be wearing to the show.
And I want to say this: there will be. I'm going to make this a priority. Before or after that, we go to that premiere. We will be going to the studio and playing a series of Spinal Tap songs. So as a group of guys. So I'm gonna tell you right now, the boys are gonna learn 5 or 6 Spinal Tap songs because we will be playing them in the studio. But yeah, so Frank Catalano, any of you guys want to come? We're gonna set up a group excursion to the theater and see it.
You got me.
Which one is it?
It's from 1980.
Okay.
And I'm going to be wearing this shirt.
Oh, yeah, shit sandwich.
That's a good one. You can't say that. You can't say that.
Can't say that. Can you say that on TV? And I will wear the one you got me, which is the Hello Cleveland version. I have.
There we go, man.
I have the Hello Cleveland version. Thank you, Jeff Towinski. So I will be wearing my Spinal Tap paraphernalia. And we will all be doing that. We'll get a date. We'll get closer. Now
for the question of the night that everybody's going to want to know. Okay. Are you going to have a cucumber in your pants? Or are you just going to be happy to see me?
It would be a first if I had a cucumber in my pants. I would tell you that much. Yeah, I would say at some point. I'm trying to think. My favorite. I'm trying to think my favorite scene of all time. It's got to be the Stonehenge scene because but I think it's also they're in the diner and they say there was a Stonehenge monument that was in danger of being trampled by dwarves. Like that is
That
probably
didn't happen in the diner. That didn't happen in the diner.
where was it? Where was it?
That happened in the hotel room.
Was it in the hotel room?
Yeah, in the diner was when they came up with the
With
plan.
the, oh, sorry, that's right. That's with the drawing. That's right. You're
Where they
absolutely
said
right.
they clearly said it's not my fault if he doesn't know the difference between inches and feet.
All right. What was the best non-main character in the movie? Who was the best non-main character? The guys who just popped in. Who had the best character outside of the main group?
Maybe Billy Crystal. Mine is money.
That was a funny line. Terrific line.
There was a lot of different.
Artie Fufkin, Polymer Records. That's a really good character.
Fran Drescher.
Yeah, Fran Drescher as
there was a naked woman on all fours with a glove being shoved in her face.
I would say I think I'm going to go to the drummers, and I think the drummers were my favorite. I looked it up online the other day because I have this thing about collecting memorabilia from big moments of my life, and Spinal Tap was one. And Ed Begley Jr. has a whole bunch of like drum paraphernalia that he signed as Stumpy Pete. Was it Stumpy Pete?
Stumpy Joe.
Eric Stumpy Pete, right?
Something like that, yeah. But
yeah,
they call him Stumpy Joe too.
Yeah, but that was another guy who was Stumpy Joe. All of that was so improvised. But again, so Spinal Tap's coming out this summer. Looks like we might get something from Triumph. And let's see if we could jam this in real quick. I think it was Kerry King from Slayer put out a thing where his top 5 perfect albums that he would say there's absolutely nothing wrong with, not a bad song, production was perfect. Can you give me one album that you would say is the perfect album in your opinion?
No, I can't give you one because I have 3 albums in my eyes that are my all-time favorite albums.
Forget about favorites. I'm not talking. There's albums that are my favorites, but I would not call them perfect. There's a couple of songs that I wasn't crazy about. Can you give me one album?
For me, these 3 out, they're my favorites because I can't.
Okay, good. Give it to me.
And I would say that one is maybe not in this order, but just in this order. One, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath from Black Sabbath, of course. Second album is Vulgar Display of Power from Pantera.
Okay,
very well put together album, well recorded. Both same with Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, and then the last one, and might possibly be my favorite album, would be Temple of the Dog from Temple of the Dog. I don't think there's a bad song on that album, and if anything, the only problem I ever have with that band is that they never put out any more material, man. There's not even like a song laying around that they put out somewhere.
Yeah. That's interesting. Okay, it's a good set. Okay, I'm not a huge fan of some of that, but that's okay. It's sure that's good. Yeah, I think it's an interesting conversation, and he was. He rattled off like 5 bands. He said the Maiden one was tough. He was picking between Killers and Number of the Beast. He picked one of the Judas Priest albums. I think it was Stained Class. I'm not Stained
Class is a great album too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one. He said it wouldn't be British Steel.
Even on those Priest albums, there was always a song or two that I wasn't like, this is great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think to me, there's a couple. Now it's one of my favorite albums because it's one of the first ones I ever bought. But like Back in Black was a great album. Blizzard of Oz I could put in that group. I don't think there's a song on there that I would skip past ever. Even the No Bone Movies and Steal Away. Just the guitar work is incredible. It sounds great. Those are 2 off the top of my head that I would always look back and say those just top to bottom were great albums. And then to me, it's Number of the Beast. There's not a bad song on the album. So those would be 3. I don't know if I ever put them in order.
Not a bad song on the album, but it's not all songs are great. And like,
no, I agree.
The Prisoner and Gangland.
I like Gangland. Die with Your Boots On. That's the next one.
Die with Your Boots On is not on that album.
Yeah, it's on the next one. Peace of Mind. But yeah, to me, like, there's not when I say perfect album for me, it's I could put it on. I could put the needle on the record on one side, and go straight through, or throw the CD on and go straight through.
Yeah.
It's got to be that kind of album where you go, I don't have to skip a song. I mean, that's where it starts. And there's very few albums, even the great Kiss albums that I listen to, there were handfuls of songs on those albums. You go, oh, that's a fucking terrible tune, man. I got to get past this one. So that's my thought.
Kiss had a lot of good stuff, of course. Yeah. And then they had some stuff that you had to be a Kiss fan to be into.
Listen, there's a lot of stuff.
They had such a rabid fans.
Listen, there's a lot of Kiss songs that you would say are very catchy, have great hooks. There was a couple of songs on those albums where you go, oh, they were just looking for something to finish the album. They needed a 10th song, and they were going to jam. They were going to jam it in there, and they threw something against the wall, or they didn't want to use something for the next album. But listen, there aren't a lot of perfect albums. Back in Black to me is a perfect album. It's one of those albums you could throw on, and I never get tired of listening to it. Number of the Beast is an album I never get tired of listening to. So there aren't many, but those are a couple of those. Blizzard of Oz, to me, the most influential, most groundbreaking metal album of all time, as far as I'm concerned. That's right there. It's another album that I can put on start to finish and not get past. But another good show. It's the first one of the year, Jeff. We got another year in the books. We're creeping up on 11th anniversary of the show this summer.
Wow, incredible.
And looking forward to we got the NFL playoffs kicking in a week. We'll do a lot of NFL playoffs next week. We'll talk, maybe do our predictions for that. We'll talk a lot of football in the next few weeks, I'm sure. Baseball's creeping up on us. Sometime in February, we'll get the pitchers and catchers. And we got some Iron Maiden coming up next year. Bruce just came out and said that I'm a little worried, because Bruce came out and said, we're going to play some stuff we've never played before. And that kind of bothers me, because now I know that they're playing stuff off the first 7 albums, so that's the good news. The bad news is maybe a couple of those songs that, please don't play that. Don't play that song. There's so many great songs. I can come up with 20 off those first 7 that we don't have to dip into anything that you haven't played before, as far as I'm concerned.
No, what's amazing is that there may be songs that they've never played live from those first 7 albums.
Yeah.
Let's see what they were.
Yep. So we'll see. I'll do a little more digging on that. See, I know he didn't mention what it was, but we got some Maiden coming up, 50th anniversary. We'll see. We're not going to have Nico. We're not going to have no appearances by Paul Di'Anno, because he made Jeff's list this year. So we were not going to get a sneak peek. I was kind of hoping for a little of that. I'm still hoping that Maiden will go out for some of that tour with Judas Priest, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So
let's see what happens. We know one thing we know for sure is Clive Burr and Paul Di'Anno will not be out there with them.
No, they will not be. Maybe Dennis Stratton will show up. Who knows?
I don't know. There'll be a lot of people on stage if that's the case.
Yeah, it's very true. But anyway, thanks, folks. We appreciate you guys sticking with us every Thursday night, and we look forward to the rest of the year. And there'll be a lot more shows, and we do appreciate that you guys got to this point with us this year. Thanks to Jeff for coming up with the dead list, and thank you to everybody for tuning in tonight. Thanks, Joe. Same to you, my friend. We'll see you on the next one. Mike and Frank and Joe and all the guys, Louis Pica and everybody who tuned in tonight, and all the people who were offline watching us and commented. I appreciate it. I really do. And we will get back to you next week. So, Jeff, that's it for show number 1 of 2025.
Yeah, I'm smiling and kind of laughing to myself about Joe's comment. And Joe, if that ever happens, the world's going to be in a better place, bro. But you know what? I'm happy that you come on the show on Thursday nights and chime in once in a while. It's always fun. Some of the shit you write out there, man. It's Happy New Year, Joe. We know you a long time. You're friends of the show for a long time, and let's meet up here next year this time, huh?
Yeah, let's keep doing it. But and thank you, Joe. We do appreciate it, and all you guys. It makes it much more fun when we can do this with friends and get some comments, and you guys do help us out along the way. So thank you. And again, we'll see you guys next week when we do this all over again. So for Jeff, myself, and everybody here at the Hard Rock and Sports Show, thanks for tuning in tonight. Have a great rest of your week, a great weekend, a great week, and a great 2025. And we'll see you back here next Thursday night when the Hard Rock and Sports Show does it all over again. Hefe, I'll definitely talk to you off the air.
You got it, man. Be good,
All
bro.
right. Good night, everybody.
Later.